I'm Mike AD, and welcome to Delta League, the only sport which 3 teams play at the same time. And, ladies and gentlemen, it's the preseason, week 1, and we have 3 weeks. 3 weeks of this action to go. And as you will find, it's incredible. Now, let's just start out right away with Miami hosting Denver and Montreal. And in this one, the Maelstrom pull out the victory. Montreal 35, Denver 29, Miami 24. Just a crazy game overall, with very high scoring and lots of violence. In this game, Montreal rookie Gus the Bus Partenza scored a Delta League record 12 goals. This kid is going to be a phenomenon. Now, before the game even got started, Miami rookie Hardcore Corbin Hargabend no-shows practice. Nobody can find this guy. And 2 hours later, Hargabend stumbles into the arena. And he's bloody. He's got a broken nose. His clothes are ripped. And the executives and the teammates are like, what the fuck happened with this guy? His explanation, he was kidnapped by the Luis Fernando Arcia Mejia cartel, and he was kidnapped and stuck in the trunk of a car, and they had him taped to the chair, but he apparently was the wrong guy, so they threw him out onto the street. So he was forced to walk around the city and get to the arena because he had no cell phone or identification. Have you seen this guy, Hargabend? He's a huge human being. Now, I mean, how did they get this guy confused with anyone except maybe a Samoan guy? I mean, we'll have to give live updates on this story as the details become available, because that's the reason why he was scratched today. He was in no condition to play. Miami player Bob Nyhan got into a scuffle with Vince Howitt, a Denver player, and it led to both players collecting yellow cards. However, Howitt broke the rules by using an F-bomb on the official, which in the sport of Delta League is an automatic yellow card. Then, because even Vince Howitt can do elementary math, 2 yellow cards in one game make one eligible for the press box flyer points. He's out for 1 game. Montreal is not immune from the stupidity or lack of general decorum, where Captain John Steyen and rookie sensation Gus Partenza pick up yellow cards as well. Freaking official is tossing those around like it's a wedding or something. Now, well, Denver player Larry McMaster only scored 1 goal in this match, but it was one for the history books. Talk about going into orbit. Spectacular. Now, in the second period intermission, a Montreal fan, decked out in Maelstrom memorabilia, scores on Dev Diwali and wins a freaking vacation. And instead of being happy for the guy, the hometown fans boo the shit out of this guy. Good to see the hometown pride, but come on. Now, a bachelor party with some crazy Denver fans made the game very entertaining, but when they threw up on the next row, they were ejected. There was a fat male streaker harassing Alexa Zaragoza, but he was not very athletic, so he could not escape security. Also, Miami player Fausto Fernandez suffered a torn biceps in this game. He will be out 16 weeks. His season is all but finished, and it didn't even start yet. Now, leading the way for the Vortex, it was Marquette Weaver with 7 goals. And defensively, leading the way, Tokyo Kortelewi with 5 blocks. And for Denver, leading the way, it was Randy Magnuson with 6 goals. And leading the team defensively, Poo Poo McCarthy, 3 blocks. And for Montreal, leading the way, my lord, Gus the Bus Partenza, 12 goals. And defensively, leading the way, not even an exaggeration, Captain John Steyan with 11 blocks. Holy smokes. Now, let's move on now to Philadelphia, where the Shred are hosting Salt Lake City and Memphis. And in this one, the hometown team wins a close game. Philadelphia 23, Memphis 22, Salt Lake City 20. Philadelphia was a little late getting onto the court because someone played a little practical joke on the team, rolling a set of crash cases in front of the locker room door. This has been happening all across the league. So either a bandit is responsible for this frequent flyer points, or it's a copycat crime. Now, well, Memphis came onto the court in their new gold and red on white kits. But word is that Memphis owner Nino Cashman hates it. And he says, we're changing them next year. Almost everybody thinks this new color scheme is a vast improvement, but you know how these egomaniacs operate. Sometime, and we all know it's the team president that made the call because that's his job. But when you don't know your boss is Thanos, one day he snaps his fingers and your team uniforms disappear. This team's page on ShopZone is already looking like minestrone. Give it a few years and this team is going to turn into the Vancouver Canucks. A team with no solid identity. Wake the fuck up. Now, Memphis player Candy Varnetti got a little carried away and forgot all about discipline, and that got his team real far last year. So, he gets the evil credit card for taking down Moore Scudder, who also has a breakdown in discipline, and he came within hair's width of the exit ramp. That much is true. Now, leading the way for the Shred, it was Ray Rogers with 5 goals. And defensively leading the way, Trent Penzavelli with 4 blocks. Now, for Salt Lake City, leading the way, it was Reggie Joe Agdev with 5 goals. And defensively, Moore Scudder with 13 blocks. Now, Memphis, leading the way, it was Gerard Sriddell with 7 goals. And defensively, it was Captain Khalil Claudel with 4 blocks. So, let's move on to Toronto, where the Towers are going to be taking on Atlanta and Phoenix. And, I mean, Toronto was late getting to the court for this game because the infamous door bandit struck again, putting Gorilla Glue on the door locks. Now, doesn't this league have any security? One day they're going to make a movie about this guy. Now, Phoenix player Curly Barnabani suffered a fractured kneecap in this match. He's gone for 3 weeks. Now, Phoenix rookie Nick Hoja is learning from the idiot's playbook by getting involved on the court when you've been scratched for a game. The guy hasn't played one game yet, and he's already suspended. This is an amazing start for Mr. Hoja. Now, speaking of idiots, Toronto players Gord Maurer and Valdemar Odette. They got into a physical altercation after this game. Obviously, the team's poor performance kind of spilled over, and these two guys looked like they were going to go at it. Now, good to see the competitive spirit, but this is the preseason. Things are only going to get more stressful. Check your emotions, gentlemen. No word if this has resolved, so this better be either a developing story or a nothing burger. Now, for Toronto, leading the way, it was Gord Maurer with 6 goals. And defensively, it was Kroll Vitkovich with 6 blocks. Now, for Atlanta, leading the way, it was Zhang Eichmann and Indigo Bard with 4 goals each. And defensively, it was Hedy Fenich with 7 blocks. And for Phoenix, leading the way, Captain London Chatbert with 6 goals. And defensively, it was Arnold Morel, Jake Coffin, Demetrius Lindbergh with 2 blocks each. Now, let's move on to the next one here. And it will be Chicago hosting New York and Seattle. And in this one, Chicago ties Seattle. Chicago 37, Seattle 37, Chicago 37, New York 33. Now, Chicago puts up 37 goals and doesn't win. And New York scores 33 and loses. Unfucking real. Now, one of the highest scoring games in the history of the league where 3 teams combined for 107 goals in 48 minutes. Now, Vladimir Mallet, the captain of the Pirates, did not play in this game because he's checked himself into rehab for addiction to painkillers. Apparently, this started when he busted up his leg at the end of last season. He'll be gone for a few weeks' time. Now, Fire Demons player Mohamed Karnasale scored a fabulous goal in this match, but afterward ripped off his jersey during his excessive celebration of the goal. I don't know if he read the rule book or the code of conduct, but taking off your jersey at any time except the locker room area is strictly forbidden. And I don't know if Mohammed knows, but Commissioner Darcy DeMello is Big Brother, and he is always watching. And he let the Delta world know fast, including the officials who did not card him for that he should have been. Now, as a result, Karnasale has been given a 1-game suspension. Now, rookie Venus Pilar got carded in this match. Perhaps some emotions spiraling out of control there, but cooler heads did prevail. Perhaps everyone was thinking about scoring as many goals as possible, and not thinking about the rulebook that it says stuff not to push people into the scoring table. This one goes out to you, Kevin Vandermerve. I understand that you just lost a very close high-scoring game against the defending league champions. Your team put on a great performance here, then you get pissed at a call made by official B.B. Kerr, and you shove her through the fucking scorekeeper's table. Let me tell you, the shoes didn't even get unlaced before League Commissioner brought Thor's hammer down on this eternal asshole. Brace yourself. 16 games. To be honest, he should be out of the league for this. Just absurd. And New York just trying to put things together after a tumultuous season last year, and this guy sets fire to the freaking house. Selfish bullshit right there. And I hope BB is okay, because she's back this year after going to rehab. And to put her through a table. Dangerous. Criminal shit there. This one, Chicago ties Seattle 37-37, New York 33. It just gets better. Now, after this game, Seattle coach Rodrigo Castro came out as critical of Emmett Ruan, citing a bad effort. I don't know what game he was watching, but when you score 37 goals, it's hardly a lack of effort. Now, for Chicago, leading the way, it was Cameron Baptista with 10 goals. Defensively, it was Captain Das Hawthorne with 7 goals. For New York, it was Rhino Montalban and Chucky Sponga with 6 goals each. And defensively, it was Kevin Vandermerve, never to be seen again, 4 blocks. Now, for Seattle, leading the way, it was Rob Donoff, 8 goals. And defensively, just a hodgepodge of players, Emmett Ruan, Corbin, Womack, 2 blocks each. Now, let's move on to Los Angeles, where the Fallen Angels host Detroit and Washington. Now, before this one even gets started, LA takes to the court with brand new alternate jerseys. And this isn't the familiar purple and yellow or blue and yellow. These are based on the green, yellow, and red zigzag flag of Los Angeles. Pretty wild. These are going to get gobbled up in the shop zone stat. Now, LA rookie Danny Mack, in his first game, blows his ACL, and he's done for up to 15 weeks. Jesus Christos. Now, there are some rough moments in this game where Dave Scary got the gold card, and it's not the kind you use at a high-end steakhouse. Break the rules and find out. Now, when Washington rookie Octavian Womack collects a yellow card as well for screwing with everybody's favorite indispensable player, Felix Kolb, Kolb says, "Screw this good guy bullshit," and a few epithets later, and everyone has a nice set of highlighter pens. Now, throw in another crayon for Bobby Sheffitz, who did nothing but be a detriment in this game, and you have some pretty chippy play here. We've got players anxious to get going and bash somebody's skull in, and that is good for Delta League. Welcome to Delta League, everybody. We don't wait for the regular season to start before we begin breaking all the commandments. In this one, Washington wins anyway. Washington 30, Los Angeles 23, Detroit 21. For Los Angeles, leading the way in this one, Frank Viano with 5 goals. And defensively, it was Frank Viano, 3 blocks. For Detroit, leading the way, it was Lucius Floyd with 5 goals. And defensively, this is not a typo. Wilt Davola, 21 blocks. How do you get 21 blocks and still frickin' lose? No frickin' clue. Now, for the Power, leading the way, it was Chevy Colella, 9 goals. And defensively, it was Sebastiano Guarnieri with 8 goals. And in the end of this one, Washington picks up the win. Los Angeles, second place. Detroit loses the game. Now, let's move on to Vancouver, where they are hosting Dallas and Boston. And in this one, Vancouver wins 31, Dallas 23, Boston also 23. Vancouver player Ana Maria Chavez got her invitation to the Sinners Club for some rough stuff in the third period, but let's be honest, Vancouver player Bondi Reed elbowed her to the face. She had the right to be pissed off at this one. Just a real tight game for 80% of the time. And sometimes you break out of your cell and murder somebody. Reed is going to the asylum for one game. And it could have been much, much worse. Lots of rookies this week getting acclimated. Some with the rules, others with the concrete. Now, after this game, Orcas player D.D. Christofferson was seen partying at a nightclub with opposing players Dave Toro and Dudley Kajdan from the Boston Revolution. The club has warned him about this, and if he can't keep up propriety, he will be fined, because it's a bad look for the league. Now, for Vancouver leading the way, it was Romeo DeRosa with 6 goals. And defensively, it was Kolas Hati with 4 blocks. For the Dallas Lone Stars, leading the way, it was York Raskind with 6 goals. And defensively, it was Lo Ang and Bernie Tully with 3 blocks each. And for Boston, leading the way, it was Hobo Mickelson and Lord Matthew with 4 goals each. And defensively, it was Vasily Rollins with 6 blocks. So in the end of this one, the win goes to Vancouver. And Dallas and Boston share the 2 points. Now, that's it for the action this week. We can take a look at the first week of scoring, which don't mean a damn thing thus far, but we're going to do it. In leading, it's Gus Partenza, Montreal, 12 goals. Cameron Baptista, Chicago, 10 goals. Chevy Colella, Washington, 9 goals. Rob Donoff, Seattle, 8 goals. Marquette Weaver, Gerard Swedell, Chip Chiozzi, Elix Henderson, 7 goals each. And then Randy Magnuson, Gord Maurer, London Chatbert, Fab Whittlesley, Rhino Montalvan, Chucky Sponga, Tommy Anastos, Romeo DeRosa, and York Raskin with 6 goals each. Defensively, it's not even close. Wilt Davola, Detroit, 21 blocks. What planet was he on this week? Then Moore Scudder, SLC, 13 blocks. John Steyan, Montreal, 11 blocks. Sebastiano Guarnieri, 8 blocks. Hedy Fenich, Das Hawthorne, 7 blocks each. Kroll Vitkovich and Vasily Rollins, 6 blocks each. Tokyo Kortelewi and Dev Dawali, 5 blocks each. And then 10 players with 4 blocks each. So, we're going to see you all next week for the second week of preseason action. And if you ignore the preseason, you're going to miss half the action, because in Delta League, the action never stops. See ya.